The Scream Kings are in no way responsible for any encounters with the paranormal, extraterrestrial abductions, eldritch insanity, hauntings, hexes, curses, demonic possessions, cryptozoological sightings, or any loss of sleep from listening to this podcast.
This is the Scream Kings podcast. I'm Max George.
I'm NJ Gallegos.
And I'm Nathaniel Darkish.
Status report.
Minor damage.
What now?
Podcast!
Delightful.
Quite possibly the best opening we've ever done.
I practiced for 5 minutes, I'm not gonna lie to you.
5 minutes? You're a trooper.
Wow.
You should be an extra if they do a remake of Critters.
I mean, they keep making sequels, so, you know.
I would love that.
I just want to be your wife who comes upstairs and just hears in your room with the door closed.
She's so used to it, like, because I was practicing the Pokemon noises for the nieces the other day, and she was like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, Pikachu.
Love it.
Thank you.
I also do
Fantastic.
really good Pokemon noises. It's actually a hidden talent of mine, but we'll discuss that later.
Why wait? Oh, wait, I guess we should probably introduce Angela. Hey, Angela, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, hey, I'm just having a good time here listening to sound effects and whatnot, so that's cool. But anyway, I am a horror writer. I write poetry and fiction, and I love horror comedy, which we're going to talk about today, obviously. Nostalgia horror, anything that takes place in the 80s and 90s. And then I also write sweet but sad horror, so some have called it poison hot.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay, well, let's get into you a little bit as a horror fan, kind of your horror origin story. How did you kind of get into horror, and, you know, kind of what got you into not just, you know, writing horror, though I want to hear about that too, but also just, you know, yeah, what kind of made you a horror fan?
Well, my earliest horror experience, I think, was reading Bunnicula. Did any of you read that when you were a little kid?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Life-changing.
A couple years ago, my partner got me the whole set of books. It was like one of the best gifts I've ever gotten in my life. So yeah, for those who don't know, Bunnicula is a vampire bunny who sucks the juice from vegetables. And is kind of the arch nemesis of the dog and the cat in the household. So, obviously, like, say no more. You should pick it up. Clearly,
I know.
If you haven't,
Just your description of that, I have it in my Amazon cart right now. That book is so many good memories just flooded back to me.
yes,
The celery stalks at midnight.
Yeah.
it's just perfection, and it's so good for little kids. Like, so that was kind of my first memory, I think, of being like, okay, this is made for me. I feel like this book gets me. And then it just, you know, progressed from there the normal ways it does. Reading Stephen King too young, so I probably started with Christopher Pike before that. I had a TV in my room when I was a kid, like an old beat up black and white TV that my dad got working when we had HBO. So, you know, I was like unsupervised latchkey child who just watched whatever I wanted, and that included horror at a young age. So yeah, that's where it all began.
Excellent.
Who wrote Bunnicula?
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me see if I can.
Because I feel like there was a bunch of books around that time. Like, did you guys read The Mouse and the Motorcycle?
Hell yeah.
Like, is it kind of that same author? I don't know.
No,
maybe not.
this is James and Deborah Howe who wrote Bunnicula.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, it's man, so good.
Yeah, it's really excellent.
Yeah, I don't remember much of the plot of Bunnicula, but I fully intend to make my children read them very soon. So
Yeah, and there are more in the series than you expect, which is what I discovered when I gifted them. I didn't really know. I think there's 6 or something. So
Oh wow.
added satisfaction of getting it later and getting the full series. So that was pretty.
Wow, it looks like there are 7. One of them was released in 2006. Bunnicula meets Edgar Allan Crow.
Oh my God! Stop it.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
they're so cute.
HBO needs to get a hold of this. I need a series.
Yeah, and may I say Muppets? Could we get the Muppets in?
Ooh,
Like,
yes.
I'm thinking like Fraggle Rock style,
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
remake of Bunnicula.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
Excellent. It looks like there was briefly a Cartoon Network show.
Oh, I'd watch that.
Same.
Oh, not even that briefly. It looks like it lasted for like 3 years.
Really?
Man, I am so excited with all of this fun Bunnicula wonderfulness.
I mean, of course it lasted so long. The drama of drained vegetables is paramount.
And when cats and dogs are forced to unite against a common enemy, it's bad.
Yeah. Cats and dogs living together. Hysteria. So, Angela, what is like your favorite horror? We're talking movies, books, whatever else you want to throw at us. Obviously Bunnicula, but what else?
I would say my favorite horror movie, which is obviously a loaded question and probably changes based on the day, is Jennifer's Body.
So
Ooh,
good.
yes.
Love it. It hits on every level for me. I'm from North Dakota. Like originally, that's where I grew up. So it's got such wintry Minnesota, North Dakota vibes. Like girls hanging out in the bar with winter coats. Love it. Sense of humor, trauma, like vengeance. I think Jennifer Check is like the best victim / villain monster out there. So yeah, Jennifer's Body.
Noise.
Yeah. Good soundtrack too.
Yes, totally.
Oh yeah, lots of mid-aughts bangers. And then what's like the scariest horror you've encountered? What has scared you the most?
I'll say a movie and a book for this one. So Paranormal Activity would be my scariest movie because, as many do feel, the fear of getting like your foot grabbed and getting pulled out of bed at night is one of my. I'm still like a jump into bed, don't think about what's under there kind of person. So hate that so much. So that one's a hard watch for me. It like really scares me on a deep level. And then book wise, I think one of the ones recently that has lodged in my brain and will not leave is Mary. That is just so scary to me. So, yep, those are a couple that I feel traumatized by.
I'll have to add Mary to my list now. I want to be traumatized.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. But worth it. I will say I'm not like sorry I read it. It's just like tattooed in my brain now.
That's a good one though. That's how you know that it was solid.
And I think it was his debut novel too, which as an author kind of like makes me hate him a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently had that with reading this book called Frostbite that kind of made me hate the
Stop.
Can we talk about how freaking awesome that cover is? Who did you have do the cover?
I know. Isn't it lovely? We hired an artist named Eric Hibeller. He normally does, this was actually his first ever horror cover. And the brief was to make it like an Amblin movie entertainment, like poster, movie poster. So I think he nailed it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you like just feel the like 90s, winter, murder, prairie dog vibes.
Thanks. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so let's tell us a little bit about Frostbite for those who are listening and have not read this excellent book yet. So people know what they're missing out on.
Sure. So it's a 90s sci-fi horror comedy. And it's about a small town in North Dakota that gets hit by a meteor, and it unleashes alien worms that infect the hibernating prairie dogs. who rise and attack. And the main character, Raylene, and her best friend have to defend their town from this attacking horde, which also infects humans. And while they're at it, they must also stop a cult that thinks that this is doomsday times and they want the apocalypse to come.
Hibernating worms? Oh.
Right? It's kind of like, I picture them like, I don't know if you watched the X-Files, but those little black worms in the X-Files that like slither. Yeah. So gross.
Oh no, Max is scare-roused. That's what that noise means.
No, just scared. I don't like worms. Parasites, worms. Ugh. Ugh.
Same.
Ugh. And goats. I also hate goats, but that's a different story.
What about a goat with worms?
Oh
no. Excuse me, I have to go throw up. I'll be back.
So, Angela, I have to say I was very happy that Pumpkin remained unscathed through the whole thing. Like, I was a nervous frickin' wreck the entire time.
I've gotten that from many people, and it's one of those where I've started wondering if I should be like, hashtag the cat lives, you know? Just so people don't worry too much. Because I know the boundaries. You cannot kill, and nor would I, because I'm not a monster. You cannot kill the cats and dogs. No domesticated animals. But I do kill a lot of other animals.
Yeah, bless you. I mean, the Pumpkin, he's like Jonesy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
Jonesy.
My boy.
He's the real MVP. Yeah. So I know NJ and I both read it and loved it and texted each other about how much we loved it. So it has our glowing endorsement. You know, it's just, it has all of those like wonderful like 90s creature feature vibes that I wanted from a very fun, punchy, exciting, sometimes a little bit silly horror novel. And so yeah, definitely, you know, if you're a fan of kind of the 90s style creature feature, y'all need to go pick that up because it's delightful.
Thank you. I'm so glad you liked it.
So much fun. It's one of the funnest reads I've picked up recently. I usually read just so many things that make me sad.
You know, there's points that make you sad in this one, but there's a lot of comic relief.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
One of my favorite, not to spoil anything because it's not, but the scene in the movie theater with the butter, and she's like, "Ma, butter me up," or, you know, whatever. And that, I cackled.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the funny part, I think, about writing horror comics, is you can really, like, lean into the like, goriness and silliness of a moment. If you write it too straight, it doesn't work, you know?
Yeah, it's a difficult line, and you freaking nailed it. Like, good job.
Thank you.
Around this same time that Frostbite has dropped, you also have The Dead Spot. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So The Dead Spot is a short story collection, and it's stories of women and girls battling monsters, obsession, manipulation, ghosts, all kinds of stuff. So they're all lost girls, lost in some way. And it's definitely much darker and more melancholic than Frostbite. So it's kind of like my more, I guess, darker side. The poison hot chocolate part, as my friend calls it. So yeah, that one is kind of more ideal, I think, for people that want a darker read, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I also read through that and enjoyed it tremendously. A lot of times I feel like short story collections are very hit or miss. You know, even from like a lot of writers I really dig, but like I really just enjoyed all of these, which is a rare thing. So bravo.
Thank you.
And yeah, definitely, a little bit more on the kind of moody, sadder, darker horror side of things, but still excellent. Though I was really just waiting for some deranged prairie dogs to show up at least once, but
yeah, I know. There's a mention of prairie dogs in the last story, but it's very different
Mhm.
It's like the same setting, but told in a not a comedic way. So
As long as the worms don't show up again.
yeah, there are no worms.
Oh,
I
good.
will spoiler. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a pre-content warning. No worms.
No, no.
Trigger warning: there are no worms in this.
Yeah.
Any other things you want to say about the books?
I guess I'll do a little self promo. I do have another book coming out in September, and it's more like Frostbite. It's called Chopping Spree, and it's a retro 80s small slasher. So it's a novella. So yeah, if people like funny slashers, that one is coming out at the end of September.
Did you say chopping? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I love it. I love a pun. Yes.
And it's not like Chopping Mall where there is no chopping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That would give me some chopping blue balls. Excellent. Well, I'm very excited to read that as well. I just added it on my Goodreads. Gotta pick that one up. Okay. Well, let's dive into the movie you chose. Do you want to tell us what movie we're talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about Critters, which is an 80s creature feature, and chose it because of, the creature feature vibes with Frostbite. I thought it might be a good fit.
I thought it was a delightful fit, and I also delight in how much Max has pain with these kinds of movies.
I am choosing our next movie that we watch.
And I know I won't be the guest, but I'll watch it too, just as like penance. So you can assign me a movie since I made you watch this.
It's okay. I learned a lot, and thank the good Lord below for some tequila.
Nice.
You secretly love it. You love it.
Uh-huh.
That is exactly the word.
Uh-huh. Let's go.
All right. Well, so Critters came out in 1986. It was directed by Stephen Herrick and written by Stephen Herrick and Dominic Muir. So should we give a super brief plot synopsis of Critters? It's not super plot heavy, so we could probably do that pretty quick.
So essentially these critters, they're actually called frights, land on Earth, and they're like criminal aliens, essentially, who escape an alien prison. And so they're being pursued by alien bounty hunters, but they land in this rural farm area, and essentially this local family has to fight them off. So yeah, that's about it.
And of course, shenanigans ensue and Kreitz eat everything.
Yes, that is one thing I forgot. The Kreitz are hungry. That is like their main thing they want to eat.
Okay, so let's talk about what we like about Critters. So for me, I just want to start off with like the puppetry and the practical effects. I really enjoy good puppetry in anything. For the most part, I'd say the Kreitz really looked a lot like really good. They had some really fun alien creature effects just kind of across the board. And yeah, like they really did have a kind of a nice visceral physical presence of them chewing on stuff, and like they looked good both in terms of like it's a cool looking puppet, but also, hey, that's actually kind of threatening, which is a hard balance to get with puppets sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. They definitely seemed creepy to me. Like I feel like you'd be creeped out.
Yeah, I think the work around their eyes and the like 3 layers of teeth that they had when they'd open their mouths, yeah, I think they were probably the best part of the movie for me. Their design. But you walk into a dark house and you go into your bedroom and you see something like that looking at you, you're gonna shit yourself. The red eyes just really, I think, nailed it as far as the design goes.
You guys didn't find them like kind of cute though?
Oh
like, a
no,
little
they
bit.
were absolutely cute, but also I don't want one in my house staring at me in the dark.
I don't know. I mean, my like toxic trait is I think I can like communicate with animals. So like I could be like, no, like we're gonna be friends. Like don't attack me, and then we'll be best friends. But
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
practice their language for 5 minutes.
I did.
You are pretty close.
right.
Yeah, they're furry. They're like, you could hold them in your arms, you know? So I could
Yeah.
see wanting to be like, no, they'll be nice to me. It's like, you know, when someone has like a really mean cat that doesn't like anyone, and you go in there and you're like, no, I can win him over.
Yeah.
I can change him.
Exactly.
And then the cat starts shooting like little barbs out of its head.
Yeah.
As they do. As they do.
And then you find him cheating on you with another owner, and then you get divorced, and so much for changing them. Something I really enjoyed, I know, surprise, of the film. 2 things. The 80s energy that this film captured was so good. It really, I think, transported you to the mid-80s. I think the film came out in 86, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And it was like a window into my childhood. Just the clothing, the house, the energy in the house. It was chaos. The older sister, the younger brother, they really did a good job of kind of putting the 80s in a bottle and letting everyone kind of look through the bottle and see what it looked like.
Yes. Yes, it definitely felt like that year that you were definitely not alive, Max.
Well, I mean, 6 years before we were born, Nathaniel. Simmer down.
You're bad at math. That's 4 years before.
Whatever. Get a life. Also, I would be remiss if we did not talk about the best protagonist in the entire film, Billy Zane's hair. That hair was phenomenal. I don't know what stylist got it to do what it did, but they deserve an award.
A lot of Aquanet.
Yeah. And the outfits were really fab. They were like crisscrossing, you know, belt and things. And there was even a getting into the outfits montage a little bit at the beginning. You know, it was like strap, strap, strap.
Oh boy.
Boom, we're ready to go.
You gotta have a montage for an 80s or 90s movie. You have to.
Don't forget the aliens needing to transform into humans so they can fit in.
I know. But they already had like human bodies and stuff. It was only their face.
So they evolved into humanoids, but maybe not from apes? Who knows? The mysteries of critters.
Maybe there should be a prequel to explain all that.
It's just a phylogenetic tree of the aliens where they came from. It's just for you and me, Angela.
Yes. I'm in.
You fucking nerds with your kingdom phylum class bullshit.
Says the doctor.
I know, I'll watch it too.
You'll bring the popcorn.
Yeah.
NJ,
Wait.
what did you like about the film?
You know, I love jokes, and this was packed with jokes. My absolute favorite scene that I rewound 3 times because I thought it was so hilarious was whenever the critters confront the family for the first time, and they have little subtitles for those who do not know, and they say, "They have weapons." So what?
Wait. What? How did they say it? I blinked. Can you do that one more time?
They have weapons. So what? Bam! Fuck! It was just so good. It's like if, I don't know, Gremlins and Mogwai, like they did meth or something. I don't know. I love it.
The Gremlins absolutely did meth. We just didn't see it.
They did do meth.
They don't
That's
get
true.
those bodies without meth.
Yeah.
They were ripped. They had like, you know, 6-pack.
Yeah.
That was the water. We had to tone it down. Oh
Yeah.
goodness, yeah. After you said that, NJ, I have to admit there were some pretty good kind of campy moments with the
Yeah.
critters.
Yeah, they were leaning into it.
Yes,
And I really enjoyed the exchange that the 911 dispatcher would have with the cops and stuff, just because it was, I don't know, it amused me greatly.
Yeah, and that was actually one thing I liked. That actress who played the 911 dispatcher was perfection. And actually, there were a ton of recognizable actors in this movie, including Dee Wallace. Like, Dee Wallace as the mom. I mean, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the dispatcher was Lynn Shay, who then went on to be, in a gazillion horror things, including, I guess more recently, the Insidious movies.
Yes, exactly. Psychic.
Yeah, she's like the best character in Insidious.
Yeah, you're right. And can we talk about the Power of the Night song? Like, I've been walking around singing it.
I know. I love a good 80s or 90s movie that makes its own rock song,
Yeah.
And it's always like not quite, radio worthy, but it's still pretty darn close and it gets in your head,
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely better than, say, I just watched this movie. It's a really terrible 80s movie about taekwondo rock band that fights evil ninjas. Miami Connection.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, me neither.
If you want a good time, this is nothing horror remotely other than just how atrociously bad this movie is, but in the best conceivable way. Yeah, Miami Connection from 1987. There's a Riff Tracks version, which is definitely the way to go. Yeah, it is a martial arts rock band. They all do taekwondo together and live together. Go up against a band of motorcycle ninjas who've tightened their grip on the Florida's narcotics trade.
I mean, this sounds like it has everything. I'm in.
It's tremendous. I laughed and they act like they're very hard with their rock music, but it's just songs about the power of friendship. They're called Dragon Sound. It is perfect.
Oh my god, you should be a promoter for this movie because I am so sold. As someone who grew up in a home where primarily I was forced to watch with my dad karate movies, there was a lot of Steven Seagal, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I feel like this one, and plus then you add Karate Kid, this one's gonna.
Yeah, it's truly a magical experience, and it's on YouTube for free, so
that makes it even better.
Yes.
So one other thing I was going to mention that I liked was some of the deaths were really funny of the critters, like when one of them ate a firework.
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
Funny because he swallowed it and you thought maybe he's going to be fine, and then he just kind of internally exploded, but just a little smoke came out his mouth, and then he just fell over. It's very anticlimactic in an extremely funny way.
And then how extreme the toilet one. Really?
Oh my lord.
What a mess.
I, that whole time, was like, oh dear God, what are they doing to these people's house? The prospect of someone blowing up a toilet in a house where people live was really stressing me out.
Yeah. I don't know if Nationwide's gonna, follow through on that homeowner's insurance claim. They're gonna be like, what happened?
Hey, Nationwide is on our side. They would be fine.
You consider it an act of God or whatever they call it.
That's true. You got a Crichton infestation? We cover that.
But it's $400 a month. Let's talk about how great the house coming back together is at the end, because it's just so ridiculously obvious that they just played the footage backwards. Oh.
Right.
And that the cat is in the mailbox. Chef's kiss.
Yes, I love Cat in the Mailbox. And the little flag was up, you've got mail.
Yes.
Perfect. Although I have to say, I put the whole house coming back together at the end on my I don't like it part of this list. Controversial.
No. I mean, it's
you have
done
to be...
terribly, but it was very funny. I laughed so hard just because it was so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It was more that I couldn't, after clearly suspending disbelief in so many ways throughout this entire movie. For some reason, when it came to the house, I was like, what the hell is this alien remote that does anything you could possibly imagine it would do, right?
Yeah, and
It's like, you can call the aliens for help, I think, is what I vibed. And also, you just pointed and it puts things back together. It just seemed very unbelievable.
yeah, I really want to know how much all of the bounty hunters are in like the sequels, because I suspect probably not that much.
Yeah, I actually will confess, I started watching Critters 2 because, I was like, I got time. Let's roll into Critters 2. So they definitely are in the second one. And there's some funny moments in the second one. I know all of us will not be into this, but there's some very funny moments in the second one too. It's not as good as the first one.
I saw Critters 3 when I was younger, because all I remember is Leonardo DiCaprio's in it.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah. I don't remember anything else otherwise.
How
other
many
than that
of this silly show are there?
There's probably like 6 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I think there's 6 plus a TV show.
There's
a TV show?
Yeah.
God is good.
No, he does not exist.
Yes. So just so we're clear, there is Critters, Critters 1, Critters 2, Critters 3, Critters 4. There is also Critters All You Can Eat.
Oh God.
Critters A New Binge, which I think is the TV show.
Also, oh God.
Critters Bounty Hunter, and Critters Attack.
And Critters the Crittering, and Critters Thanksgiving Feast. Critters Hello Fresh.
Critters go to the Crab Rangoon buffet.
Critters Meet the Gremlins.
Chuckarama.
Critters Meet Gremlins. This is the new Alien versus Predator.
Okay,
Yes.
that I would watch. That one I would watch.
Who would win? Who would win, honestly?
Gremlins.
Yeah, Gremlins are smarter, I feel like.
That's
And
true.
They're self-replicating. They're ruthless. One sings. One turns into electricity. There's a girl gremlin. Come on, NJ, get your head out of your ass.
Yeah, and they're just more fun. Like if you compare montages, like the like ruining the house montage in Critters was okay, but the crazy partying montage in Gremlins is next level.
Ugh,
Yeah,
so
you're
good.
right.
The
You're
blender,
right.
the microwave.
Blender.
Plus, Christopher Lee is in the second Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the lady gremlin, guys.
The lady gremlin, she's got lips and heels. She's ready to go.
Yes.
She's ready to party.
Well, we don't technically know if all of the Krites were male or female. We don't know what their sexes are. I'm just saying.
That's a very good point.
And if any of them can get it.
Lady Gremlin can.
Now I want to watch all the movies again. I think I have seen most of them at some point in my life, but I don't really remember. Just to see if they put a lady critter in there again.
Yeah, we do. We need to watch that. We can tag team it if you want. Like you can take one and I'll take one. Yeah.
I just did a quick Google search. And there is, in fact, a lady critter.
Oh, that's great. Of course, there would also have to be another, a sequel to the crossover that also is versus Ghoulies.
Yes. Yeah. Ghoulies, I'm going to put third. Gremlins, number 1, Critters 2, Ghoulies, the definite 3.
Oh, yeah. But honestly, it would just continue to be Critters versus Gremlins, and then Ghoulies would pop out of a toilet for 2 seconds. Call us Hollywood.
Yeah.
We have the meat. All right. Can I vomit on the movie now?
Yes. Bring it. I'm ready to hear your takes on the badness.
So yeah, a few things, Angela. I am notoriously anti corny, campy B movies like this, so this is not a reflection on your enjoyment of the movie whatsoever.
It's cool. I don't take offense.
Max just hates fun.
Apparently.
If you can't find joy, then I feel pity for you.
I find joy in other things.
All right.
I also think I'm the harshest critic of the three of us. You may think it's Nathaniel. It's not. It's me. You guys gave this like 6s and 7s for crowns.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Spoiler.
Y'all are insane and brown nosers to Angela. No.
I approve of this.
I had a great time with this movie.
Yeah, for me, it just felt like Gremlins, but in space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're describing why it's good.
I thought the whole alien thing to me just was so left field. At first, I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. You know, asteroid's gonna land. But then the alien bounty hunters and the critters and the whole like sci-fi element on top of it being a creature feature really pulled me out of the fun, I think. I just felt it was almost two separate storylines going on until the two storylines were forced to go along together. And
Yeah, that's fair.
I think you see that with the bounty hunters and then the family. It didn't feel like a very cohesive movie for me, and it really took me out of the fun. And I think the result is the bounty hunters. Had it just focused on the family and kind of the chaos that the critters were doing, I think I would have been a little bit more invested. The bounty hunters just felt so
Pointless.
yeah, out of nowhere. Other than the hair, I mean,
Yeah.
the hair needed to be in this film.
Of Johnny Steele, played by Terrence Mann. I think you said earlier that it was Billy Zane.
I did.
No, Billy Zane is the one I think that you're upset with the hair of.
Yeah. I got that goofed.
Yeah,
So
he was the true villain of this movie, that fucking ponytail.
Yes. And the plot.
Okay, so I will largely agree with you, actually. I still had a butt ton of fun regardless, but yeah, like, especially like, okay, the opening scene, it's on this space prison. We have this like really weird looking alien who's communicating with different ships, and it just kind of goes on and on. We don't really need most of that to happen.
Well, and all of that is happening, and then the critters, the krites, whatever, don't even show up until like 2/3 of the way into the movie. So there's no like suspense or scariness build up at all because they're just suddenly there. I felt like,
Yeah, yeah.
which again made the plotline of these bounty hunters and kind of this threat that these little critters are on the loose. Where are the critters? Where are they? I don't know. And then the aliens morphing into the humans felt unnecessary. The song was great, but it was only a token to get the aliens to look like humans so they could be sleuths.
Yeah.
I don't know, God.
There was some plot issues. I'll give this to you, and I think I'm an easy grader on these kind of movies because I just like a good nostalgic creature feature. But I think what stands out to me on the bad side is clearly this is a Gremlins ripoff, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Successful, and Critters was made after that, and so when comparing them, I think I just didn't care that much about the family, right? Like it didn't make me
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Like whereas Gremlins, you immediately feel sympathy for that family, like right away.
Yeah.
You understand their struggle and what's at stake for them. And in this, I didn't really feel like advanced sympathy for the family. So when they got attacked, I was like, I mean, could be anybody in the town.
Yeah.
Why do I care?
Yeah, and the sad thing is that the rest of the town is even like less interesting somehow.
Yeah.
all of the characters are pretty bland. I mean,
Yeah.
the family is very one note. They captured that 80s essence very well with the stereotypes of the younger brother and the older sister kind of being the rebel, yada yada. But as characters in this film, they were just very one note. Aggressive dad, submissive mom, rambunctious kid who helps save the day, girl who's having sex in the barn. I just...
I think she got to like second base at most.
Oh, if that.
Yeah.
I mean,
That.
She has had sex in that barn before, though.
oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. She owns that barn.
She had a whole setup. Like, there was a stereo and everything, so...
And I guess I did go into the film not really knowing a whole lot about Critters. I didn't know that there are 9 other movies that have been created. But I had heard about Critters quite frequently. I mean, it's a very big staple, I would say, in the horror world. The Critters are pretty well known, I would say. And so I think I went into it a little bit expecting more kind of that horror classic from the 80s, that kind of lightning in a bottle feeling of this was done in the pinnacle of horror with Nightmare on Elm Street and Gremlins and this and that, and I was excited and then quickly realized, oh, this is not a movie I'm going to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is more of a bad knockoff for sure.
So yeah, I think what it comes down to is I was just disappointed. The movie, it was fun in some points, but I never laughed out loud. I never thought it was silly. I didn't rewind it 3 times. NJ, calm down.
Again, you have no joy.
So yeah, I'll be the party pooper. I just didn't like the film. It was not as bad as that atrocious snowman film that you all made me watch.
Hey, don't worry. We're just gonna watch the second one in like a month or 2.
Yeah, we talked to him at StokerCon, and it's happening.
Well, did you tell him he's gonna have to buy me a bottle of wine or some tequila or something?
I think he knows.
Okay. So I'm glad you all liked it, but this is like up there with that snowman film for Max.
Fine.
My partner walked in and he's like, "What are you watching?" And I said, "Something for Cody and or something for Nathaniel and NJ. I don't know what I'm doing."
You know, Dee Wallace is in it. He was in E.T. and Cujo and stuff.
Cool. Actors don't make the movie.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it probably helps that, like, I remembered it from childhood.
for sure.
So I have, like, I went in rewatching it. It had been a long time, but I rewatched it. And the nostalgia just was, like, enough for me.
Agreed.
It was just, like, a fun romp. But I went into it knowing exactly what to expect.
Yeah, and I think
You guys hadn't seen it, right? Like, neither of you?
Yeah, I had.
You had? Okay.
No, I had not. Sorry, I didn't
Oh.
enunciate much.
yeah.
I don't know how to talk. But yeah,
Words.
because I think that the nostalgia does, like, boost it up, because, I mean, that's why they do it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. For me, that's like arachnophobia, right? I've rewatched Arachnophobia, and that movie lived in my brain as a child. I was terrified of turning lights on or taking showers because what if there's a spider? But rewatching it as an adult, I can totally see, like, you didn't grow up with this film, it's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, the spider that jumps out of the fire and is, like, battling the guy at the end, it's preposterous. But to me, like you guys, it's amazing. So, the nostalgia goggles, I think, play a part.
We're more
in this.
forgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no nostalgia, and I still had a great time. But one of my biggest critiques is that occasionally the creature effects were real bad. Like, most of it, great. Every once in a while, they just, like, chucked a crate across a room.
Yeah, there was a lot of rolling fur balls.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, they literally just, like, rolled it, and they're like, we'll fix it in post.
How come they only shot the, like, thorns, like, the one time, too? Like, the
No, they did it a
porcupine
couple
thing.
times.
Did they?
Yeah.
I must have...
Yeah, but they were a little underused.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like, they should have been rolling and then shooting those out.
Yeah, that'd been way cooler.
Like attack porcupines
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
with red eyes and worms.
Exactly.
Apparently they were...
If only this had worms, it would have been a lot better.
Ugh, I would have given it more screams.
Apparently critters are designed after Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, I can see that.
Are you sure it's not out of the Gremlins?
No, just... Actually, another fun fact, the screenplay was written for this before Gremlins came out, so it's not influenced by it.
All right, well, I apologize for disparaging critters and saying it was a Gremlins knockoff.
I mean, I think that's why the studio went for it, but technically, it
Angela,
was
if
first.
If you don't want to say it, I will. This was a Gremlins knockoff.
I sure thought it was. It felt like it was riding the wave of Gremlins success.
I absolutely think it was, but I don't think it was like a hastily thrown together script. Apparently, it existed because the writer had a nightmare as a child and wanted to turn it into a movie.
Wow. So you're saying this is the script of their heart? Finally got me.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm so glad that Stephen Herrick got a chance to really express deep-seated part of his childhood.
Maybe,
So you're
maybe a critter
s-
is his sleep paralysis demon. It's got red eyes.
Oh.
Could sleep on his chest like the succubi of old.
Aw.
Yes. That's creepy, actually. I would not like to open my eyes and see a red eye.
NJ, did you just go, aww? Like, cute?
I mean, then I can hug him and I'd be like, "Thank you." I guess if I'm paralyzed, maybe I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's not how sleep paralysis works.
Yeah.
What are those plush, pillowy creatures they have now?
Oh, a squishmallow.
Squishmallow. I think maybe they should make a critter squishmallow just for you.
I would buy it. So I have a question for all of you.
Okay.
Of all of the weapons that they used during the movie, which one do you think was the most effective? And then which one did you like the most?
Space gun.
It was a little much. But yeah. I like the firecracker. I think that they should just take a trip to Indiana, get a bunch of firecrackers, and just light them and toss them at the critters.
Yeah, that was a good death scene, too.
Yeah.
I think my favorite weapon for nostalgia's sake was the hairspray plus the lighter. There's nothing like an Aquanet plus lighter flamethrower.
That's true.
I think my favorite weapon was definitely the firework. I did love how he like ate it and then it just kind of smoked and then blah. The best weapon was the credits at the end. That really, I think, brought a lot of good termination and finality to the film.
It was also your nightmare, but in a different way.
Yes. No, the space gun was pretty cool, but that's because I'm a nerdy little space boy, so I'll have to say that too, Nathaniel.
Seemed the most effective. I mean, there's a reason why these bounty hunters use those guns, I guess. Huh?
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on why the bounty hunters decided to just suddenly have a great bond with this, preteen boy and give him a communicator and stuff?
Because it was 1986. and what alien in the 80s didn't befriend some child?
Yeah, that I picked up on that too. It was weird because it was specifically said at the beginning they've killed planets and stuff because they just destroy everyone and don't care. So yeah, I wondered that. Why is this boy meaning?
Maybe he's actually one of them. And he came to the Earth as the chosen one of that planet and had to disguise himself or else he'd be found out by the critters.
Or he's adopted. You know what I'm saying? He's his real father is rock and roll guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was placed with this family as a little baby.
Again, Hollywood. We have the meat. It's here. Contact us.
Critters prequel.
Yeah. The origin. Or no. Critters, the Prophecy.
How about Critters First Bite?
Ooh, that's a good one, NJ.
Thank you.
All right, should we move into the lovely ratings of this baby?
Yes.
So-
Screams.
I gave it a 1.
You weren't
Not-
deeply scarred by this movie, Max?
Bridgerton scares me more than this movie did, so let's just say that. How about you all? You crazy people.
2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, I said 2 as well. Not exactly scary, but there was some like, funny like attack thing. But yeah, 2.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want a kite to, be near me. So that's where that crowns. So, how good is this movie? Let's just get Max's out of the way.
I gave it a 2. We know why. So I'm just gonna leave it for you 3 to give it some lovin'.
I gave it a 6.5. I'm an easy grader. I just thought it was fun. It was like wacky, fun, good time.
Yeah, I'll go 6. It's just, I had a good time. I'm not gonna necessarily seek it out again anytime soon, but I might watch the sequels, just, to have something on while I'm playing a video game or something.
I said 6 as well. I actually had just watched it like 5 months ago and thoroughly enjoyed it then, thoroughly enjoyed it now. I like a campy creature feature.
Okay, well, moving on. How is everybody here staying spooky? What's something horror-y that you recently consumed?
I want to go last because I have a real life scary story that happened to me just like a week ago.
Okay.
Ooh. I guess I can go first.
Okay.
So a couple ways I'm staying spooky. Movie-wise, I just saw Long Legs,
Nice.
and I really enjoyed it. I thought, yeah, it was creepy. It definitely had Silence of the Lambs kind of vibes, but it did some unexpected things plot-wise, and obviously Nicolas Cage is totally creepy in it.
Yeah.
And it just hit some notes for me, like some themes I like in my horror. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just saw that as well, and also, yeah, really, really dug it. I, not like life-changing, or, I think I saw someone describe it on Twitter as, from all the promotional materials, they were hoping that Satan himself would jump out of the screen and play their spine like a xylophone, and that didn't happen. But besides that, yeah, it was a good movie. I really enjoyed it too. But what else?
And then reading wise, I'm actually about 3/4 through a book that is just stressing me out and filling me with total dread. It's Jackal by Erin E. Adams. And it's about a woman who goes back to her hometown she did not like when she was growing up. And she's going for a friend's wedding, and apparently this town has kind of a history of little girls disappearing, but they don't really admit it. And her friend's daughter disappeared at the wedding in the woods. And it's in Appalachia, so it's kind of one of those,
Ugh.
don't answer a creature when they call and don't acknowledge if a creature is there sort of thing.
And just don't go to Appalachia.
Right. I mean, that's what it's teaching me. But, and then there's also like themes of racism and everything.
Interesting.
So yeah, this book is fucking stressing me out. It's really good, and I'm listening to it on audiobook, and I just keep upping the speed because I'm like, all right, I gotta figure out what happens here and see what's up. So yeah, good job to Erin E. Adams. I think,
Oh, Erin.
yeah, I can already tell this is gonna be like one of my top reads of the year.
I always read a horror book when I'm up camping, and I'm going in a few weeks, and this sounds like the perfect one.
Yes, woods horror for camping, perfect.
Yes.
What could go wrong?
Don't answer if someone calls your name though, or anything. If you hear someone call your name, Don't look, don't answer.
Well, I already boofed that up. That is part of my story. We'll get there.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Well, I didn't know we were on a theme. Now I'm really amped.
NJ, how have you been staying spooky?
So I just finished Fever House by Keith Rawson. So Keith actually, I'm sure you remember, he went to dinner with us at StokerCon and he had tattoos on his fingers that say bookmark. So
Yes.
it's like fucking awesome. But yeah, so Stephen King actually recommended Fever House on Twitter, and since that's my, God, Lord and Savior, I was like, okay, I got to see what's going on here. It's fantastic. I would say I would put it on my top book of the year so far, but essentially what's going on is there's this hand, this dismembered hand that has the ability to kind of like warm into your thoughts and have you do violent, horrible things. And if people die near it, they'll become zombies, like rage zombies. And so this clandestine government agency is trying to get the hand, and then this like kind of mob collector guy is trying to get the hand, and shit goes down.
I want to read that one. I've heard really good things about
It is amazing, and like his prose is unreal. Like I was like,
For me, I have been on a horror video game kick lately. So I just beat Silent Hill 1 for the first time. I dusted off an old PS1 disc and beat that, so that was a lot of fun. I also played the recent pre-release the Silent Hill The Short Message, which sure was fine. It didn't really feel very Silent Hill, but was okay. And I mean, it's one of those. It's a decent free horror game, but it's not really very Silent Hill-y. And then I started kind of a little bit lighter, but still fun and still horror-themed game called Killer Frequency, which is like made by Team 17, Worms, and a whole bunch of other games. But yeah, basically the idea of that one is that you are a radio DJ in like this like really small town, and the entire police department is dead or unconscious, and so the emergency like 911 operator basically calls in and says like, I'm going to start routing stuff through to you so I can go and try to get help from outside because there's a serial killer who's attacking everybody. So it's you're playing as the DJ and having to take calls and like solve puzzles and stuff to help people because there's no police. It's fun.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah, and it's like a pretty quick game. I think it's like 5 or 6 hours, so I'm like halfway through it already. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and just I like games that kind of throw a little curveball in terms of like gameplay and stuff. And yeah, I've never been a radio DJ in a video game before.
Imagine that.
My dreams are coming true. Max.
So before I tell the story, me and my fiance went and saw Maxine. I adored Pearl. I thought it was one of the best films that came out last year. So I was pretty excited for this one, and it really let me down. I feel like the producers of the film just kind of gave up, in a sense. It was not very scary. The plot was all over the place. And the worst offense was there were a whole host of new characters that really took away from Mia Goth, who is incredible, and I just wanted her being her. So, was a little disappointed there. Do you guys like to hear a real-life scary story that happened to me?
Always.
yes.
So I will preface this. I do not believe in the paranormal or the supernatural, which kind of blows people's minds because I love the occult. I find it very therapeutic. I am a huge demonologist. I just bought the How to Summon Demons for Dummies book just to read and peruse while I work. But I find all of that very fascinating from a sociological point of view. I don't really believe in it. I also not believe in it. Like, if something is out there, it's out there. Whatever. Bleh. I don't have a ton of paranormal events that have happened in my life. I had a couple at the hotel that Nathaniel and I worked at for a few years together, which are pretty spooky. Never really gave them too much thought. This, however, was much more intimate and much more kind of spooky and creepy, and left me with that icky, yucky feeling of what just happened. Something is here. I need to get out of this house. So, some of my best friends went on a family vacation, and they have a large German Shepherd and 2 cats. They live like 10 minutes from my house, so whenever they go out of town, they ask me to take care of their pets. And I had been doing this for 3 or 4 days, and it was the last day that I was taking care of the animals. And their house is kind of like a rambler. You walk into their front room, and there are stairs that go upstairs to an office, master bedroom, a bathroom, and then if you kind of continue on the main floor, there are stairs that go down into like their living room. And then on that main floor is the kind of living center and then kitchen. Does that all make sense? It's important for the story. So what I would typically do is, this German Shepherd is huge, and I am not a dog person. So I just wanted him out of the house so I could go feed the cats and get his bowl ready to go. And so I let him outside. He does his thing, and I close the door. He stays outside so he can get his energy out and whatnot. And I go upstairs. I fill his bowl. I fill the cat's bowls. And I'm standing right in front of their stairs that go up to the second level. And I'm looking at my phone, just kind of perusing the internets. And I kind of hear this weird kind of whisper come from behind me. I couldn't make out any words. I couldn't... It's kind of like when you're in public and someone's, talking on the phone, you're not really paying attention, but there's sound behind you. It was very muffled, very kind of eerie and spooky. And it made me look up for my phone and like, whoa, are the cats being weird, or did Sig somehow get inside? Kind of made me become more alert. Nothing was there. Didn't see anything. Just kind of got the heebie-jeebies, but it's not my house. House sounds or a power surge or whatever. The logic you use to help you sleep at night. And then a few seconds later, after I kind of go back to my phone waiting for the dog to be done, I kid you not, I hear words coming from one of the upstairs rooms, particularly the office space. And it was audible enough that it felt like someone was in the room speaking to me through a closed door. And the words they said were, "Come up here and see." So I flip around. I'm like, is someone in the house? Is there like an intruder in the house? What's going on? I let the dog back in. And I go upstairs and I have to see. So
You don't listen to the voices.
Oh my god.
You know me better. I open the door to the office. Nothing is there. The computer is off. There are no electronics on. I go through their spare bedroom. Nothing. At this point, I feel like there's someone in the house, because that is how audible those words were to me. Go through the bathroom, the shower curtain. I do all of the things you're not supposed to do. Went into their master bedroom, looked under the bed, looked in the closet, ruffled the clothes around. Nothing. So I left, and I told my friends, and when they got home, they felt kind of an eerie kind of vibe, and I'm sure it's because I told them all of this. You get into your head a little bit about it. But they proceeded to sage the house, and haven't spoken of any other spooky, creepy thing that's happened. So I don't know what to think about that. Don't believe in a lot of this stuff, but that is one thing that I really kind of got creeped for her. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I probably brought it home with me because I did go up and see, and there was nobody there. So a demon has now attached to me, and we'll figure it out. I can summon him, and we'll have a good chat. A daddy demon chat. I'll be like, "What's up, bro?" Yeah, maybe he was just bored or lonely or looking for a host. It's fine.
Did you stage your house too?
No. I had staged my house a few weeks prior, but I am of the belief that even if something did attach itself to me, I would just tell it to hush down. I'm the owner of this house. I won't give you permission to be in this house. If I felt eerie or spooky, I just kind of verbalize that and say, get out. You're not the one paying the mortgage. You can't be here. Adios. And that's worked pretty well for me. I have a very large cabinet of spooky things, like my demon grimoires and all of that stuff. And sometimes the doors rattle a little bit and the glass shakes, and I just tell whatever spirit is in there that when they start paying the mortgage, then they can make noises. And they shut up.
Let's be clear though, these rules don't work in the woods. So definitely when you go to the woods.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
no.
That would be had I heard that in the middle of nowhere in the woods, peed my pants and leaving. So anyway, that is my spooky story, friends.
Yeah.
Do not go and see if something invites you, because I did.
You're like every white person in a movie.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely
every
not final girl material.
Yeah.
like every white person, but I also know how to deal with this shit. If it was a demon, I would have been like, no, bitch. I have the Roman Rite book. I will own your ass. Get out of here. The intruder situation is a little different, so we won't be discussing that.
So you're actually more prepared for a demon.
100%.
Okay. All right.
That is not an invitation for anyone listening to spook me by kind of trying to get into my house. Ugh.
You're
We'll just
ruining
let
all my
work.
plans, Max.
I'm just going to let some worms loose.
I can deal with worms. I'll be grossed out, but I have a foot. That will take care of it.
Yeah, like a nice like writhing ball of black worm or something. Just chuck it upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
So then you can come and see.
That is less scary to me than like a parasite, like a ringworm.
Yeah.
Ugh. And just like the thought of picking at it and then you pull it out of you and it's
Ew,
like
no, I don't
2
like-
feet
Ooh.
long. Ooh.
You want to hear something terrible?
Always.
When I did my surgery rotation, the surgeon told me that they were operating on a patient. I can't remember. They were from some other country, and they were taking their gallbladder out, and they like cut the they removed the gallbladder, and then a worm literally came out of the gallbladder duct. Yeah, and then there was worms all in the gallbladder. Isn't that the worst?
That's gross.
I know, isn't it?
Ugh. No wonder they had to get their gallbladder.
Right?
God is dead.
I know.
Ugh. Oh, that gave me the shivers. I take back wanting to hear your gross.
I think that was. I was hoping to hear something gross and medical, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Oh boy, friends.
Well, I guess we should probably wrap this up. So, Angela, where can people find you online, and also make another plug for where people can find your books?
So I'm Angela Sylvaine everywhere, and that's Sylvane. I'm on all the social medias, TikTok, all the things. I have a website, angelasylvaine.com, and you can find my books wherever you get your books. My main publisher is Dark Matter Inc. if you want to get it directly from them, but also Amazon and every other place if you prefer. So yeah, and you can get Frostbite and The Dead Spot, and you can, I think, pre-order Chopping Spree now too. So yeah, hope you check it out.
And you should, because it's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I guess without any further ado, everyone, stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
But if something asks you to come and see, don't.
No.
NJ, can we get some critter noises to send us out?